Hello, gorgeous. It's me, Coach K, and I am hoping that you guys can hear me. I am using a streaming service tonight so that I can be live here with you on my regular profile as well as in the Plot Twist community group. But I am super excited to do my first Ask Coach K Q&A live question like session or whatever. If you are watching live and you're on my regular profile, I want you to hashtag Hey Coach K. And if you're watching from the Plot Twist community group, hashtag Plot Twist, just so I'll kind of know or have an idea of where you're watching from. I am super excited about this. So get in here. I'm going to be looking over to the side some because I've got your questions here. When you use StreamYard, you can't necessarily see comments, and I'm going to want to know your questions. All right. So I'm excited. I had a link you guys could post your questions anonymously to, and then I've had some other questions sent to me, and we're going to get started right now. Okay. So my coach asked me to answer what was my most difficult transformation and what did I learn from that transformation. Hey, Linda K. So my most difficult transformation, I really had to think about that because if you guys have been following me for a long time, you know that I'm the queen of fresh start. So I have transformed over and over and over. And when I thought about it, it's probably when I had to really undergo therapy and coaching because I recognized that I was codependent. I was codependent. I grew up in a family that's super enmeshed and we love each other. And anybody who knows my family knows we will give you the shirt off of our back, right? But we also really heavily depend on one another. And I was experiencing their emotions as my emotions. And so I did that in my relationships. I did that in my friendships. I did that with my career. And so I would sell myself short. I would settle. I would take steps back. I would play small out of fear of upsetting the people that I loved. And I think that many of us do that. But when you realize that you are hurting yourself by being so kind, by being so forgiving, by being so accommodating, it makes it a point where you have to do something different. And I was at that point where I could no longer set myself on fire to keep other people warm because I was becoming ashes and I wasn't rising. Right. And so, what I learned from that was how to fall in love with myself, how to care about myself, how to set some boundaries, how to dictate, like, that's not okay with me. Like, whatever I'm going to say this, guys, life is not a flea market. Stop negotiating your price. Stop haggling. You are allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to draw a line. And so, like, once I learned that, I was hard to handle. So if you don't get anything else tonight, I promise you, if you start remembering your worth and get yourself off the what is it, the clearance rack, everything will change. Okay. So put that in your pocket, write it down, tag a friend. Okay. So, what was my most difficult transformation? Not being a people pleaser and letting go of codependency. What did I learn? I learned that I could stand on my own 2 feet and that I was worthy of all the things that I desired. Got it? Good deal. Hi, Linda. Thank you. Oh, that was good. Yes. Hey, who else is on here? Oh, lots of people. Hey, y'all. All right. Number 2. What advice do you have for managing imposter syndrome? This came in from one of my good friends, Carla. Imposter syndrome, I often tell my clients, is that feeling you get right before you grow. Right before you grow. Remember that if there is a seed planted in your heart, that somewhere within you is the capacity to learn to do whatever it is that you desire to do, or the skill set is already there. So when you get imposter syndrome, when you start second guessing yourself, that's the feeling that you get right before you grow. And the way that I have combated imposter syndrome is by celebrating small successes. Like, I literally throw a parade. I have a party, like, literally for everything. I'm like, we are going to have a good time. Like, one of the funny things is, like, I love Oreo cookies. Like, that's my big deal, right? And I would go through like a pack of Oreo cookies in a week. But if I had a night where I'm like, okay, I only had 4 Oreo cookies, you could have ate the whole roll. We have a celebration, right? So learn to celebrate small successes. I said last night that success is not linear. Like, lots of times you think like this is the starting point, that's the goal. There's all these little pit stops in between where you have to, like, change your tires and make sure your seat is straight and make sure the gear shift is right and do all these things. Celebrate in the meantime. Celebrate in the meantime. My church friends say that, like, while we're waiting on God to open up that door, I'm gonna praise him in the hallway, right? Like, because we know it's on the way, but in the meantime, you celebrate. So when you are feeling like you're not good enough, you start to think about all those little bitty celebrations. And tiny celebrations breed confidence, and it gives you that strength and that motivation to try something harder and to try something harder. So that feeling you get when you have imposter syndrome is the feeling right before you grow. So I love you, Carla, so very much. You are amazing, and I cannot wait to see you as you continue to soar. Next question was, what do you do today? And it came from a follower. What do you do today that you recommend to everyone? I actually dove into this one on a podcast recently. I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like blown away by my age. And he's like, what do you use for skincare? I gave him all the 411 on skincare. But then I was like, I truly credit my vitality, my youth, my glow to choosing joy. And any of the clients that work with me, if you see my stories today, we talk about this on a regular basis. Choose joy. There are a million circumstances that you are going to run into from day to day where you could be sad, you could be depressed, you could be down. And the truth of the matter is, some of that stuff is a chemical imbalance. So, like, you don't have a choice about how you're necessarily feeling. You do have a choice about your behavior, right? And so choose joy. Every single day that I open my eyes, I look for a reason to be grateful. I look for a reason to be thankful. I look for a reason to smile. And I look for a reason to pass that joy on. I said previously that if you had a flat tire, you don't flatten the rest of the tires. You don't do that. No, you repair the one that's there and then you go on down the road. We have to think about our day like that. So when little things happen, I have bad days, I have off days, I have rough days, but still I choose to find the good. And I challenge you to do that, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And if you allow something to tear you down, it's going to eat at you. It is going to eat. It's like acid. It just eats at you. It ruins your day. But when you choose joy, you're going to find more and more of it, and it's going to make you better. It will make you better. So the one thing that I do daily that I recommend to everyone else is choosing joy. Definitely. The last question that I had come in early was a question from my friend Jerisha. And she wanted me to talk about the difference between being lazy and resting. And it was very ironic that she sent this question, because she sent this question before I had my yesterday, right? And so I talked about last night in my live that so many times people confuse they say that your value, they feel like it is dependent upon your productivity. And that's not true. It's not true at all. Like, you are priceless. Your value is far above rubies. Write it down, put it in your pocket, okay? And so you have to remember that you are allowed to rest. When a person is lazy, often they lack the drive, they lack the motivation, they don't want to get up and go. When a person is resting, they are relaxing. They are taking a moment to let it all sink in. They are resting their feet. They are resting their time. They're resting their minds, right? When you are lazy, there's a lack of motivation. There's a lack of drive. You don't want to get up and get it for yourself. You want it to be handed to you. But that's not the way life works. Anything worth having is worth fighting for. It's worth working for. It's worth sacrificing for, right? And so never feel guilty for resting. If you listen to my podcast episode from today, I talked about the importance of rest and ways to incorporate it daily into your schedule. And so one of those ways, I'll tell you, my nose is so itchy all of a sudden, guys. One of those ways that I incorporate rest was to create a wind down routine. And so in the evenings, there is a time where my phone automatically goes on do not disturb. Automatically, I lower the lights in my home. I'm not going to say her name, but her, because I don't want her talking to us, right? I use her to play low music. I might light a candle. I sip green tea. I might read a book. I start to lower the sensations. When you set your phone to do not disturb, that backlighting goes down so you don't get those blue lights, and your body starts learning that it is time for us to recover. Rest is recuperation, right? Rest is recuperation. To be lazy is just that. And if you are struggling, right? If you're struggling and you want somebody to talk through, hit me up. Let's talk through. Am I being lazy, right? And there's a difference between being lazy and being scared. Because sometimes people aren't moving, they're not generating action, they're not doing the things because they're afraid. And not just afraid of failure, lots of times people are also afraid of success. Because what am I going to do with it? And what if it all vanishes overnight? And what if it doesn't work? So you can be lazy, you can be tired, and you can be scared. So there's lots of ways to look at it. We can chat about it. Is anybody out in the comments? There's about 7 of y'all I can see on right now. Anybody have questions that you want to ask live? I totally want to chat about it. I'll give you a few minutes. And now I'm going to tell y'all about my next big thing. So if you're not already in the Plot Twist community group, get in there because starting Monday, I'm doing a 5-day free challenge. It is Self Love Academy. And if you guys don't learn anything else from me ever, what I want you to learn is the importance of loving yourself. Love yourself, okay? And that is because your relationship with yourself is the foundation for all other relationships. And so people often say to me, Kayla, I'm having a difficult time having friends. Kayla, I'm having a difficult time with a relationship. Kayla, I'm having a difficult time, navigating my relationship with my parents or my relationship at work. And I always ask them, how do you feel about yourself? Like, describe yourself. Any client of mine, if they've had one session, I'm going to ask them, the very first question I ask them is, who are you? Because if you don't know who you are and you don't love you, it becomes impossible to truly navigate other relationships because you don't know how you move, right? So Self Love Academy is kicking off. It's 5 days in a row, okay? And we are going to meet at 7 a.m. I'm going to give you a quick little nugget, a quick little lesson, and then a challenge and some mirror work. And I'm super excited about teaching you how to fall in love with yourself and to navigate that, okay? I do have a question in the comments. It says, where is your podcast located? You can find my podcast anywhere that's anywhere. You can find me on Apple. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Google or any of the podcast stations that they own. I will also drop the link to my podcast in the comments, or if you go over to my bio, it's on my link tree. So you can find it there or on my website. My website is heycoachk.co. I will put this in the comments. Heycoachk.co. I'm going to add that banner and pop it up right now. There we go. So if you want to go to my website, that way you can find how to link a call with me, how to check out my podcast, how to grab my ebook, any of my stuff, you can find it there. All right. Linda had a question. Have you ever had roadblocks that you needed to figure out on the block? Not realizing you had a block. So yes, I have had blocks that I needed to figure out. Oh, roadblocks. So if you had blocks that you needed to figure out on the block, not realizing that you had a block. Yes. So yesterday's challenge or the day before, I'm not sure, in Just One Thing I'm doing with my coach, she asked us about how we were a year ago versus today. So a year ago, right now, guys, I was so anxious and I was so depressed and I was so stressed out that I barely wanted to get out of bed in the morning. And I know that people don't necessarily believe me because I hit it so well. Like it was like a script popping on, doing what I'm supposed to do. I would come home and literally cry. And I could not figure out what was wrong. I could not figure out why I was so sad. And I remember saying to my mom one night, I was on the phone, I was like, Mama, I think I'm depressed. And I just poured out all of this stuff to her. And what I came to the conclusion was I was out of alignment with who I was. And when you're out of alignment, it's just like when you're driving a car. You can have your hands, like you have to sit with your hands straight up because the moment you take one hand off the steering wheel, it starts veering off track. And I was veering off track with my life because I was living out of alignment. But the moment that I reinvested in therapy, the moment that I reinvested in coaching, the moment that I stepped into my purpose, which is to love, lead, and inspire other women to fearlessly pursue the life of their dreams, the moment that I started that pursuit, my life started falling into place. I was happier and I could not figure out what it was. I was looking to corporate America to give me the validation that had to come from within. That validation that you're good enough, that you're strong enough, that you are leading the way, that you are inspiring and aspiring, that had to come from within. But my block was I needed it from someone else. And so it took me getting down in the dumps, like not knowing what to do next to figure that out. So, excellent question, Linda. That's why I hired you. Thank you. I'm so glad you did. Anybody else got live questions? No? All right, all right. Well, guys, this has been so much fun. Okay. So much fun. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these. If you want to see more of these, throw up some fire in the comments down there. I would love to jump on and answer or yeah, answer your questions or talk more with you. If you have a question that you are afraid to ask me because you didn't want me to talk about it publicly, please go ahead and send that question to my messenger. Okay. It can be definitely something we can chat about. Consultations with me, you get a 15-minute consultation for absolutely free, and we can talk about what would be the next step for you if you were interested in hanging out with me more. If you know for sure, hey, Kayla, I definitely want to step into coaching with you, or you're thinking maybe I should step into coaching with you, go ahead and text coach to my coach line, and I will reach back out to you. We will hop on a call together and we will see which tier of my program would be appropriate for you. I would love to do that. And of course, as always, the Self Love Academy 5-day challenge starts Monday, and we are going to have so much fun. I'm going to teach you how to fall in love with yourself and give you some strategies to get your journey started. I love you. I want the best for you. And as always, I cannot wait to see you start your transformation. Have an excellent night on purpose, sis. And we will chat in the next one.